Here she is. Hi, Erin. Thanks for joining me today. Now, Erin, you did the Copywriting Master Class in February of this year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, what was happening in your life that led you to go, I need to do a copywriting course?
Well, I was a very fresh beginner to copywriting. I think I knew it existed, but I had only decided in earnest that I really wanted it to be my next career move relatively recently. I found your course pretty soon after I made that decision. So I was really looking for something to help me lay the groundwork to get off on the right foot.
And we were just talking before we came on, and you're still working full time, aren't you?
Yes, I do have a full-time job, not as a copywriter. I do a little bit of writing for the job, but yes. So I have been building this as a separate, life and business on top of a full-time day job.
Yeah, which is tough. So kudos to you, by the way. But this is what I love about this, and why I wanted to bring it up, is this is exactly how I started, where I was like, copywriting's a thing. I can do that as a job on my own. And I did a course while I was working as well. And I love that idea of learning while you're earning, because it really takes the pressure off and helps build your confidence while you're still getting a paycheck. So I think that's really smart. So when you were looking around for courses, what were you looking for in a course?
Well, so as I mentioned before, I really wanted to lay a good foundation. So I was looking for something that was really going to cover the bases of what you would want to know, as someone who, needed to even figure out where to get started.
Yeah.
I needed some of, like the background theory and logic. I needed to know how to think like a copywriter in addition to how to actually write.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I really loved about your course. Is it's one of the few courses out there, maybe the only one I personally came across, that actually really, touches on both of those things. That was really what
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I remember reading a review from Krista Walsh, who has also done the course, and she said, I was surprised how much process the course involved. So it wasn't just the techniques, but it's the process. So, for me, that's just part of what I do. So it seems a natural part of what to teach. So I'm glad you found that useful as well as a real highlight. Now, when you were making the decision, what I always ask as well is, what almost stopped you from signing up? Because if it almost stopped you, it's bound to almost stop other people as well.
Well, I knew I was committed. So, I don't know that I would say I was really almost stopped, but, concerns were, I don't have unlimited resources. So I wanted to make sure that I used, the time and money that I had, in a wise investment.
Smart.
I can't buy all of the things. So it was really important to me to try to choose, a course that I was going to get the most impact out of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, time and money are the two biggest things that we all have to think about when we sign up to course. I'm a course taker, and it's always, can I join in enough to make this experience valuable? And one thing I want to highlight is you turned up to every call. If not every call, then nearly every call. So you really jumped in. So how did you find the time part of it? How did you fit that into working?
Well, I found time on evenings, weekends, early mornings, kind of, whenever I could. It was important to me, so I made sure that I made the time. I liked how there was the structure in the course with having weekly assignments every week. And you knew, what the due date was going to be if you wanted to actually have it done in time for the call that week.
Yeah.
And it was important to me to I really wanted to stay on track. And so it helped me, having that structure. I kind of got in a rhythm, and it became my routine. I usually, I like to jump on it right at the beginning of the week. I think I did a lot of the work on the weekend.
Yeah.
I was excited to do it, so I didn't mind doing it on the weekends.
Yeah, and I love that feeling as well, because you were pretty much always the first person to submit. You got a few weeks ahead at the beginning, which was fantastic. But it's really at the end, submitting those whole writing projects and pulling it all together. I feel like that's where the real benefit is, because that's when you get that feedback on complete projects. And to stick with it till the end puts you so far ahead of a lot of other people. So just a quiet kudos for that. Because I know it's hard work. It's hard to do it around your life, whether you're working or you have families and stuff like that. I personally have calendar appointments with courses that I'm doing just to kind of keep making that time. Because as you said, if it's important to you, you do make the time, but it's not without its challenges. So how do you feel now that you've completed the course and you invested those two big things? Was it value for money?
Yes. No, I never had a moment of regret, honestly. I enjoyed the experience.
Badly.
I was going to joke and be like, no, yeah, but yeah, no, I totally, it was definitely worth it. Yeah, for one, the course is substantial. There is a lot of content there. We covered a lot. So it was good that it, but with the time frame, it worked really well, because every week it was like a doable chunk, but over time it all added up into a really significant skill set. So, so I was really, I think that really worked out well for me. And then I also, one of the decision points for me that made me hit that button to actually, lock into the course was that, I know how invaluable it is to actually be able to get feedback from an expert on your own work. And a lot of copywriting courses and programs and resources out there don't offer that. And I knew that was really going to make a lot of the difference, because, how was I to have any idea how good or crap anything I wrote was, unless somebody else was actually putting their eyeballs on it. So I thought that it was worth every penny to get your feedback on all of my writing assignments, because that way I learned way more than I would have just trying to practice on my own.
Yeah, I'm so glad you raised that as well, because I really do remember a moment very early in my copywriting career where I submitted some headlines to another copywriter and asked their opinion. And she gave me a couple of key bits of advice that I still remember, but I would have continued writing the headlines I was writing, thinking, oh, well, I think I'm applying what I'm learning. Like, this is what the blogs say. But she went, have you thought about this and you've thought about that? And it changed everything. And sometimes just those few little bits of advice can show you where the next horizon is. So I feel it's really important. I've had a ton of people tell me, you should take that review work out and you'll get more people on the course. But it's really important. It's the thing that helps you improve. So I'm glad you found that, because the reason a lot of other courses don't offer it is it's really hard. And that's why, I know in a lot of the calls, I do that kind of live editing bit as well, which I think people respond to really well, because it's not just going, there was this and here is a finished product, but here are all the steps that you have to go through to work and edit the copy to get there. It's not always a straight line. And you're in my confident copywriting group and you've seen my live editing. It's definitely not a straight line.
No.
So what would you say, you mentioned a few things you liked about the course. Are there any favorite bits where you were like, this was gold?
Well, in addition to the feedback, which I do think is hands down the most invaluable part, my favorite part, honestly, was the Zoom calls every week. As you said, I either attended all or nearly all.
Yeah.
And that's some, there were days I was like walking out of the office and like already getting my, you're on so I can hop on the call, because I really wanted to be on it. Because it really helped me to go through that journey with other copywriters and aspiring copywriters, like other people who were also working on building out the same skill set, and, you know, getting to see you review and provide feedback on their work too, and hearing the questions that they asked. And, you know, some of them were things maybe I wouldn't have thought of. But, you know, just so, yeah, having that community, I think, you know, it really helped me to like stay engaged, and it just made it a lot more fun.
I love that. I've actually had an email from one or two of the other copywriters in our little cohort going, I miss our calls. They were really fun. And it becomes a habit.
I think we were all in withdrawal the first couple of weeks. We wouldn't call.
What do I do with my time now? Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So how do you feel now that, like, think about how you tackled copywriting before you took the course and how you feel when you tackle copywriting now?
Well, I definitely feel a lot more confident and competent than I did back in January.
So glad.
It's like, now I actually like have a process. I mean, you know, it's a constant work in progress, but like I have one now, which I had no clue before. You know, it's like, I know how to get started. I don't, you know, have the whole stare at a blank page issue thing. You know, I mean, some of the, you know, good nuggets of advice, like, you know, like to start with a call to action. And, you know, it's like, you know, I never come up with that on my own. So yeah, I definitely, you know, and then I have the coursework to fall back on, you know, and my notes and the feedback that, you know, if I get stuck, you know, it can help to go back and review those things. So yeah, it's an invaluable resource for sure.
Awesome. I mean, because I know what a lot of people did is actually printed out all the material and got it bound, and, you know, so it's a physical thing. But even now, I like to review some pretty basic and fundamental literature I have on copywriting, just to kind of refresh myself, because sometimes we get so much practice that we forget some of the basics, and it's nice to just reset the process and the technique every now and then. So yeah, having that access to dip in and out of really pays it forward for all your future copywriting projects. So I'm glad. And can you share, do you have any kind of brag moment here, a big or small win for you, your writing, confidence, anything like that?
Yeah, I would definitely say that hands down the biggest win I've had this year, I would say, is a confidence win, that I am currently in my 5th straight week of a cold email campaign pitching total strangers for copywriting work. And that is something I never, ever, ever would have had the guts to do this time last year. Like, I would have been like sitting in a corner crying at the mere thought of it.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, you're a member of my Confident Copywriting group as well. So that's, you know, hopefully playing a big part in this building of your confidence. But that is absolutely amazing because, you know, finishing the course puts you ahead of a lot of other people. Taking it, thinking of yourself as a copywriter and having a copywriter mindset absolutely puts you ahead. And being proactive by doing cold pitching. You are so far ahead of everyone else who is just waiting for the opportunities to come for you. So how's it working out?
Well, you know, so people are opening my emails, and some of them are even clicking and looking at my website. So,
okay.
I mean, I would say for a complete newbie, you know, reaching out to people who don't know me from Adam, you know, and considering that, you know, I just haven't done this at enough scale, I think, to really get, you know, the results that I am sure are coming with enough consistency over time. But, you know, for someone who, you know, just to get started, I mean, like, out of the first 5 emails I sent, 4 of them got opened. You know, and I mean, that's an example of even just, you know, how far I've come with my copywriting, that I can write a subject line that gets somebody to open an email.
Yes. 100%. But what a confidence boost. And you know what I love about that? You're tracking that. Not only are they being opened, but they are being read and clicked on to your website, which is huge, because that's not just like I open the emails and go, yeah, no, spam, right? But they're reading it and clicking on your website. So I love that that's happening, and I love that you're persisting, and I love that you're tracking it. Excellent. I'm so pleased. So what would you say to anyone who's thinking about doing the course, maybe holding back because, of course, money and time, huge investment, or maybe people who aren't sure that they can become a copywriter? Do you have any advice for them?
I think that anyone who truly has an interest in copywriting, like if that's something that appeals to you, if that sounds like a good place for you, you can do it. you just, yeah. I mean, getting hooked into like a course and a community that can help you lay that groundwork, I mean, that's really all you need to get started. It's for sure. And I think that really it's so much better to have like a comprehensive system for learning, with an expert to guide you and a community to support you. It's miles beyond what you would be getting if you were just sort of trying to piecemeal your own education through a bunch of, free tutorials you found on the internet or books you bought off Amazon. I mean, I've tried reading some copywriting books, and I mean, you can pick up some nuggets, but it's not really gonna, books aren't gonna teach you how to actually, not only become a masterful copywriter, but become a competent business owner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot to cover. And I really like, that, I mean, like in your class, you would let us ask you any sort of questions that we had. And it was so great to just hear, your experience and like how you managed to launch a business and just, and being around other people who are doing that. Yeah. I mean, I would be not nearly where I am right now if I hadn't had that to, set me off in the right direction.
I love that. It is a huge shortcut because there's so much internet information and so much available free. But you're right. It's like you have to kind of piece it together, and doing a course and having a coaching experience definitely shortcuts that. So I'm really glad, like the fact that you're sending out cold pitch emails now and they're getting opened and clicked on and read and all those things, I think is a testament to that kind of confidence boost and how accelerated your process has been. I would never have done it that fast. I salute you.
Well, I think it is being, like around, like the other students in the class and the people in your confident copywriting community, and like, just to see that other people are out there doing these things too, trying to get work, and to see other people's wins, I mean, it's really encouraging to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen people who were literally in your class with me, like celebrate the win of having their first paid client. And I mean, I think I was almost excited about it as they were.
Yeah. I love that. And that just really goes to show how close we became across those weeks of the course as well. I'm so glad you're in confident copywriting. We can still talk. Cool. Well, I want to thank you for sharing some time with me today. I know it's going into your evening, but thank you for letting me ask these questions about your experience on the course. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to add before we say cheerio?
Oh gosh, no, I don't think so. Hey, whoever's listening, Belinda is awesome and you should get in this class. Seriously though, I mean, never for a second did I regret it. Like some of the best money I've ever spent.
Oh, I like that. That's going into a meme. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Erin. I really appreciate your time today. I will say cheerio and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. That was it. That was Erin's experience in the Copywriting Masterclass. And, I know I'm asking questions that set up really positive answers, but there are some really strong recurring themes that you'll notice with all the people that I'm talking to this week. And that's that before you make a huge investment of not only money, but time, it feels too big. It feels too much. And part of that speaks to concerns if you can really do it, because I talked about taking a course like this can change your life. And it sounds a bit dramatic, but when I discovered copywriting, it was a thing, it changed my life. When I learned my craft, it helped me feel more confident a lot faster, just like Erin did. And what I've created with the Copywriting Masterclass is a really strong coaching space. So there is a lot of content. We cover a lot in the course. I could have made a shorter course. I could have made a cheaper course. I could have cut out the review element and made it a bit easier on myself, but that's not how you become a good copywriter. To be a good copywriter, you need to learn the techniques and the writing processes that successful copywriters use. And remember, copywriting is not a talent. It's a skill, which means you can learn it. And when you learn it and then you practice it, you move out of the zone of writing on instinct, unsure of what it is you're doing and just kind of winging it. You move into a zone of certainty because you have a process for brainstorming things. You have a process for constructing the copy on a page. The blank page isn't your nemesis anymore because you're saying, I got this. I got a process. I got a framework. I know what goes in to all the gaps and I know how to edit as well. But there's not just I know as a student, right? When you submit your work to the masterclass forum and it gets reviewed by me on our weekly calls, you get feedback. And the reason feedback is really important is because it shows you the gaps in your own thinking. Because when we learn a new skill, we apply it, and in our own mind, we think we're doing all the right things. And more often than not, we probably are doing all the right things, but we don't see where we're falling short. And sometimes all it takes is someone with more experience to go, that's great. The next step is this, this, and this. Have you thought about this angle? Remember, we talked about that. And it completely can change your perspective on what you've written. That's the benefit. So a brief rundown of what the course is and how it works before I sign off. This is a course. The Copywriting Masterclass is a course for aspiring and working copywriters. If you don't know a thing about copywriting and marketing, don't worry. I tell you all you need to know. If you've been a copywriter for a few years, but you've been writing on instinct and you want to go further, this course will reset your technical foundation. And as I said, a lot of copywriters I know who have done the course gone, I wish I'd done this years ago. I'm learning things that I kind of knew, but now they are rock solid. Now I have a process. Now I have a name for the technique and things like that. So it assumes no experience, but if you bring experience, it will shortcut your learning process, right? It's never a bad idea. It's 12 weeks long, but you have lifetime access. So we have 12 calls together where we say, this week, we are going to be talking about this chunk of lessons and this one worksheet. And so you have all week to do the lessons, submit the worksheet. Then we have a call on a Friday. And what I do is I go through the worksheets, as many as I can, or if there's a lot submitted, I cherry pick the worksheets that will give the broadest range of feedback. Because the truth is, most people hit the same stopping points and the same barriers each time. And so the advice I give on one worksheet will more than likely be applicable to 95% of the worksheet. But that's great because even if I don't make a specific comment on your worksheet, although I do try and make comments on all the worksheets submitted, because when you do the work, I show up for you too. There is a really strong collective learning on those group calls. So you have a week to go through a chunk of lessons, submit a worksheet, and then we review it on the call. But you know what? If you don't make the call, it's okay because you get lifetime access to the content, lifetime access to your cohort's coaching calls. So if life happens, and boy does life happen, you can just catch up, do the worksheet, then watch the call and then redo your worksheet based on the advice that I gave you. But not only that, you get lifetime access to the forum. Now, forums are a bit boring, not as exciting as hanging out on Facebook, but the forums are where people have submitted their work and I have posted all my feedback since 2013, right? So what a lot of students do is they do the worksheet, and then they check the forum for how I commented on other people. Then they might make adjustments to their worksheet. and then they submit it again. So it is a goldmine of tips and advice that I have been giving for years and years and years. And a lot of students say it's really helpful to see how others approach the exercise or the writing project. So we have 2 modules of techniques-based worksheets. And then the third module is all about writing, pulling it all together. We talk about the writing process, researching, preparing a brief. Then we go through projects, how to write website pages, how to write brochure, how to write direct mail, how to write ads, and how to write emails. And there are 3 writing projects that ask you, that I give you a brief for, and you pull everything together and you submit those writing projects. And you can use those projects as samples in your portfolio, right? So not only do you learn the skills, not only do you get feedback to boost your confidence and make you a better writer, but you get portfolio samples as well. So it's learn, do, improve. That is the basis of the entire course. So, it's all about improving your skills and your confidence. It's a 12-week whirlwind, but when you show up, I show up in spades. I want you to be a better copywriter, and I do everything I can to make the experience a valuable one that has you implement and learn. So I'm going to drop a link to the course in the comments here. If you have any questions for me all this week, I'm here answering questions. I'm also welcoming people into the Copywriting Master Class, into the private Facebook group where we hang out and you can ask me extra questions. I'm sending personalized little welcome bonjour videos, and it's all happening. So I hope you have a fantastic week, whatever you're doing. Sign up to the Copywriting Master Class if you're ready to make copywriting your thing. I can't wait to welcome you into the group.